Hi everybody, my name's Tim, and welcome to another round of Ask Tim. I'm here to answer all of your science questions. We're going to go over a few of the key concepts of physics. When studying physics, everyone should know Sir Isaac Newton's 3 laws of physics. The rules are: 1. An object at rest will remain at rest unless acted on by an unbalanced force. Force. An object in motion continues in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Force. Let's break this rule down. What this means is that if I'm in space and I push a baby, that baby is going to keep moving in the direction I push it forever unless it were to hit a planet, meteor, or if it was pulled into another gravitational field. So, you can say, if there was nothing in space, that baby would just keep floating on forever and ever. This rule also means that if I have a pencil and I set it down on a table, the pencil will never move unless acted upon by a force. The next rule is that acceleration is created when a force acts on a mass. The higher the mass, the more force is required to move it. That for every action, there was an equal and opposite reaction. This means that for every force, there's a reaction force that is equal in size, but opposite in direction. Action. For instance, there's a rocket being launched. The rocket's action is to be pushed off the ground with its engines. The reaction is that the ground pushed the rocket up with equal force. Those are Newton's 3 laws. While I was explaining the laws, one thing I talked about a lot was force. What is force? Well, force is any influence that causes an object to undergo change in speed, direction, or in shape. In other words, it's an action that influences an object. For example, pushing a book off of a shelf. There are 2 main types of forces. There is contact forces and non-contact. Contact force is when force that is being applied to an object through contact. Non-contact force is a force that is applied with no contact, like gravity, for instance. When a book sits on a table, there are 2 types of forces acting upon it. The force that comes from the table pushing the book up, and the force that comes from gravity pulling it down. Gravity is the non-contact force, while the table is the contact force. If I push my fingers on each side of the book, I am applying even more force. If you calculate all of the different forces together, you get an object's net force. However, if the book is not moving and it has 4 different forces acting upon it, that the book is at an equilibrium. The third type of force is a normal force. That is the component perpendicular to the surface on contact or the component of the contact force exerted on an object. In a way, normal force is just contact force. An example of normal force would be a block sliding down a piece of inclined wood. The normal force in that situation is the wood. A 4th type of force is kinetic force, which is the energy which an object possesses due to its motion. For instance, the cars on a roller coaster reach their maximum kinetic force when at the bottom of their path. When they start rising, the kinetic energy begins to be converted to gravitational potential energy. Simple as that. 2 other key terms that are related to force that you should know are inertia and static friction. Inertia is the resistance of any physical object to change its state of motion or rest, or the tendency of an object to resist any change in its motion. Essentially, the concept of inertia is a heavy object has to be dragged around. Static friction is similar to normal force and inertia. Static friction is the force resisting the relative motions of solid surfaces, fluid layers like blood, and or material elements sliding against each other. Normal force. And that is it for today. Thank you for watching. Please join us next week when we cover cooking topics.